All right, Evan, welcome to the Nova University podcast. If you would like to introduce yourself to the people on the panel and people that are watching right now, go ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate you asking me to be here.
Uh,
So, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Evan, and man, I started as a firefighter. Yeah, I spent eight years of my life as a firefighter paramedic, and I left 2 years ago to pursue entrepreneurship, my full time. And so now I invented a product, turned that into a crafting company that does over 1.5 million in sales a year.
wow,
And then I took that knowledge that I learned building that company up and created TikTok and social media following around myself and then lessons I was learning. And so I started spitting them out there on TikTok and Instagram. And so some people have met me there. Some people have been following along on my journey, but that's the gist of who I am and what I'm up to now.
nice. And what were you like as a growing up in your environment? Were you always like taught like, hey, financial entrepreneurship stuff, or it was like things that you now acquired after being a firefighter? Like, what clicked in your head?
Hmm. That's a good question. I didn't know shit growing up. Nobody taught me anything. Yeah, my parents didn't teach me any financial literacy. It wasn't in my friend circles. And you're the sum total of the five people you spend the most time with, and those people that I was spending time with didn't know the answers. In fact, they didn't even know those questions existed. It wasn't until I was in the fire department and I started listening to what other people were saying. Instead of just talking all the time, I was picking up on conversations, and I heard different business ideas mentioned a few times along, and those guys were successful, and they seemed like they had it together. And then they talking about some of the books they were reading, and that's what clicked right there. And I was like, oh, it's books. It's not Netflix. It's books. I got to read fucking books. So that's when I was started with like Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I started going down this rabbit hole and learning things. I got myself financially literate, and then that financial literacy translated into my business. It translated into a bunch of other things.
Okay, wow. And what made you leave the firefighting? Like, what made you be like, okay, now it's time for me to separate from my W-2 and keep doing my entrepreneurial stuff?
Hmm. Spent about 5 years. Dude, it took me 5 years to get that job. Paramedic
Mm.
school, like 26,000 miles on my truck. I had to go to like I took like 48 tests and went to 22 interviews. I did 5 background checks. It was a lot of work.
Was it worth it?
Like it took me years. And well, I think it was. Looking back on it, that grind, that hustle turned me into the person I needed to become to get to the next level. I needed the
Yeah,
discipline. I needed to understand leadership. I needed to understand how to be part of a team. I need to learn how to show up. I need to learn how to get my shit together and start spending a time around better people. And so it did cause me to level up. So I don't regret it at all. But once I got into the fire department, I got this job and I thought was going to bring me security and happiness. And it did for a short time, for about 5 years. But as I was working that job, I had always had that entrepreneurial bug. And so I was all this business, this business, this business, this business, and finally this latest invention paid off. And so as I was building it up while working at the fire department, I started to see the potential of having something make money for you while you sleep. And I was like, oh, dude, there's might be something to this. So I did some math. I sat down and I was like, what would happen if I worked every single hour of the year at the fire department? How much money would I make? And I would cap out at like a little over $300,000 after taxes, maybe 150.
Oh,
And I was like, that's it. That's my future. That's the best I could ever do. And I was like, that's not good enough, man. And so that's when I set some lines in the sand. And I
yeah,
was like, I need to make at least 6,000 in cash a month from my business. My business needs to be able to pay for my health insurance, and my business needs to be able to provide me a pension. When I can do those three things, I'm going to quit. And in December of 2020, we got to that point, and then I quit. It was great.
congratulations. And
Thanks.
do you was your lifestyle like I guess not a lot of people think like, oh, it was probably like easy for you. Was your lifestyle like, oh, like peanut butter sandwiches, like grind set type stuff, or how was that? Like, did you have like a what is that word? Whenever you frugally, did you
Mm.
live frugally during those times?
For the most part, yeah. Well, we didn't have a lot of money. Like I was after taxes, I was bringing home like maybe 30, $40,000 a year as a
Yeah.
firefighter paramedic. It was rough, dude. And so I had always had to have these side hustles on the side to keep the extra going if we wanted any extra. Because I mean, that's only like $3,000, $4,000 a month. That's enough for rent and some basic necessities for you and a dog and 2 kids.
Hmm.
And so it was that desire for more, to provide more, to be more, to have access to those things that only money can get. I want to solve all financial problems. And so in the beginning, fuck yes, dude. Yes, we did not spend a lot of money on anything. I'm still driving around a $4,000 car, like we both are. We don't have like a bunch of nice stuff. Because how do I want to put this? That's not what wealthy people do. Wealthy people don't spend their money on the shit.
Yeah.
And so that was just one of those lessons that we were kind of taught earlier on. And so we just put all of our focus on building the thing that could generate cash flow for us. And that thing is a business. So we put all our money back into it, dude.
Nice. And did you try for the young guys here? There's a lot of young guys. They're coming out of high school. Was your first thought of did you go to college? And what's your thoughts on college?
I only think college is good for a select few people. If you need a degree, like in paramedicine, like go to paramedic school. Don't go to college. Or if you want to be a lineman, go to lineman school. But there's a path that everybody gets to at one point in their life, and that is work for somebody or work for yourself. And if you're going to work for somebody, then college can be a great idea because you need certifications, training, and expertise in a given area. Like if you want to be a nurse, go to nursing school. College would be great for you. But if you want to be a business owner and you want to be an entrepreneur, you just need to start. And then you need to invest in your own education and making yourself the best person you can be. You need to learn how to get fit. You need to learn how to learn. You need to learn how to read books. And then you need how to find the right courses and the right education so that you can level yourself up.
Yeah,
I think that's just so important. So the short answer to your question is only go to college if it is going to give you a key that will unlock a door. Otherwise, don't waste your money.
I like that. And I like how you said, like, you got to learn how to read books because when you're growing up, you're only taught to read books for assignment purposes, not
Yeah,
for
man.
knowledge or, uh, I guess your choice of picking books. I mean, you can read Harry Potter all day if you want, but I mean, if you really want to learn, like these are gems right here, not Netflix. And what was
Yeah,
the
man. You
biggest?
want to learn how to be a better public speaker? Someone
Yeah,
wrote a book about it. You want to
yeah.
learn how to fucking get healthy? Someone wrote a book about it. There's a lot of stuff out there. And I just think you're right, dude. You're right when you say that.
And what was the biggest struggle you had from like 18 to your early 20s?
Putting myself around the right people.
Hmm.
I didn't know any better. I just didn't know. And my whole life, I can look back and see all the problems that have happened to me. And it's all been because I just didn't know. Nobody taught me. And so I would encourage you to figure out, like, find someone who has what you want and then figure out how to be around people like them.
Hmm.
Like, I just didn't know that though. You know what I mean? And so I was just spending my time around losers. Then I was hoping to be better and I couldn't be because I was learning from them.
Now, a lot of guys, they're like, what do you mean by that? You know what I mean? I got friends from high school, like, I got this, I got that. Like, what are some indicators to see like these people are like buckets of crabs? You ever heard of that saying? Like the
Yeah.
crabs in a bucket,
Oh,
where
yeah.
like if you try to climb up, they just pull you back down. What are some indicators that you're like, okay, this guy's a negative in my life?
Yeah, I can answer that because I've been through that. I've lost friends like 3 or 4 times now. Each level, you lose a group of friends. The price for your new life is your old life. You just have to pay it if you want to do it. And a lot of times, those friends are part of that price. And so, what I mean, like things you can look for is like if you're telling your hopes and your dreams and like what you want to accomplish to other people, and they're beating you up for it, or they're just like, not you, dude. I don't know, bro. We'll see. I don't know if you could do that, bro. Come on, you're thinking a little big here. Maybe start off a little bit smaller. Fuck those people. Cut them out of your life. They're cancer, dude. Like you don't see it, you don't know it, but they just stopped that thought. They just stopped something that could have snowballed into greatness. But there's people that will cut off those thoughts, and you want to be away. You just be away. Just get away from negative people like that. Now, that's just one example, but it's the people who are there to either, like, could you tell your friends bad news without them talking about themselves? Then they're a keeper. If you can tell your
Yeah.
friends good news, they're even more than a keeper, dude. Because you know what happens when you tell people good news is they usually start talking about something else to bring themselves up to your level so
Yeah,
they can elevate themselves too. You know, dude, that's just another sign of people who are in it for themselves and not in it to support you. You want to be around other people who are contributing.
of course. Like they give back. They're not like you're not the only person that's giving in a way. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I like to do this little thing called like sampling. Uh,
Tell me about it.
Imagine like you're at a Fisher market or any type of like Sam's Club or grocery shop store. You know those like imagine this old lady just selling uh like samples of fish, and all these people come through. They have 90% of the people that come through. They're like they don't even want to buy the fish. They just want to take the sample and go. Uh,
Mhm.
and there's like the 5% out of the 10, they they eat the fish knowing that maybe not, and there's the other 5%. The last 5% is like, hey, I'm gonna buy this, I like you, here, I'll buy more. And the things that she's also making a profit. Why is she like giving all these samples? Is because she knows that, hey, these are the people I don't want to mess with. Like, try. So in real life, this is how you would do it. You give something like something small, right? Like, hey, let me test my friends by trusting them with something small. And if they, screw up or don't give back in a way, I know what kind of character they are. But if I know this person is trustworthy, they give back, it's something small, like, hey, I'm stuck at this place. Can you pick me up? It's like, okay, he'll put his stuff aside just to help me out. I'm like, okay, it's gonna take me to my destination. He gives back. Or you have this other person where like, uh, they're like, hey, can you give me this free thing? Can you give me that? Can you give me this? Oh, you're pretty successful. Oh, you have a knife business? Can I get a free knife? Like, uh, at the end of the day, they just want things and they don't want to give things back. Uh,
Mm.
we had this other podcast guest come through, and he said, basically, a lot of people they have the whole friendship thing mixed up. They think, oh, you're my friend, I think I should get a discount. That is not the way. It should be, you're my friend, I should be giving you more. Your business, I'm gonna I'm gonna buy your knife. I'm gonna pay you double for that because I believe in you. I believe in your cause, and I just want to show my love to you and just give you that money because I want to uplift you as well. Not, hey, can I get a discount because we're buddies? No, that doesn't help you. That and
Feel that.
doesn't have help our friendship. And
Yeah, man. Friends support each other. I get that.
yeah. And so what would you like to have changed uh about you getting raised up? Like, did your mother and father ever affect you as at all about like you think they should have gave you a little bit more financial literacy?
I had that talk with my dad once, and it's just kind of, he just didn't know, though. You know, like
Hmm.
I would have loved to learn more about getting financially literate, understanding the differences between assets and liabilities, and, how to leverage debt and what kind of debt not to leverage, and, just all kinds of stuff. Because, he had rental houses and stuff before at one point in his life, but he never taught me any of those lessons that he learned. And so, yeah, I wish I would have learned that a little bit sooner. But, in the end, I am where I am now, and I'm pretty pleased with where I am. And so I don't know that I dwell on the past. I don't want to shut the door on it,
Yeah.
but but I can look back in hindsight and be like, oh man, if I was 18 and someone like was like, hey bro, read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I will teach you to be rich. If you read these two books, like you're gonna be set the fuck up. Just pay attention. You'll be good. And I'll be like, oh, okay. But I didn't know that.
Okay. And what are some of the sacrifices you made that people just don't understand? Like, uh, I know a lot of people, they're like, you sacrifice like, time with your friends. Oh, do you have anything that comes out of your mind that, oh, people just don't understand this part?
Hmm. I put off a lot of immediate and short-term gratification. We're not spending the money and doing the things that a lot of other people are doing because we know that it will come. But if we dump that money and we spend it now, we're
Yeah.
going to be just prolonging, that payoff in the end. So, there's a lot of things that we're not doing, like the vacations and the travel and the other stuff. You name it, you apply that label to anything, and we're delaying that short term,
Right.
delaying gratification because, dude, it's so much better if you can. It's so much better if you can.
what are some tips to like basically do that? I know a lot of you are like, oh, I need it. But at the end of the day, it's like if you buy a new car, it's gonna be the same car a week later to you. It's not nothing.
Yeah, the only time I really justify making a purchase like that is if that whatever you're buying is going to put money back into your pocket. That's the only time. A car's not going to put money back into your pocket unless you're renting it out on Turo or something. You know, a house isn't going to put money back in your pocket unless you're renting it or cash flowing it in some form. And same for a business, you know. But you could justify buying a bunch of new sneakers if you knew that you could flip them, 100%, because that will put money back into your pocket. But if it's just going to take money out of your pocket, then I would just wait. I just try to wait one more day. That's what I do. I'm like, I'll just try tomorrow. I'll see how I feel tomorrow, and I try and do that for as long as I possibly can, and just put it off. And eventually, it just starts to add up.
Yeah, I like this. Like, oh, just one more day, just one more day.
You're
And you
right.
just over time, you're like, I guess I really didn't need it. It's just something
Yeah,
that you saw. Uh,
yeah.
and what were some of the side hustles that you started early on in your career?
I remember one time I sold lemonade on the corner. I made like $60 in a day, and that was huge. And I was like, "Oh wow, we can work." I mowed lawns for a while. I did that, put like my business card out, and went mow lawns, and I had to figure out all the fuel and everything else. Burned CDs for a while. Did that kind of stuff. Custom CDs for people in school and whatnot. I worked jobs, and then on the side, I've done. There was a while I had a wood shop, and I was building furniture and like cutting boards and like going to craft fairs and selling like homemade wood items. And then back in like 2018 ish, I built mining rigs for Ethereum. Hundreds and hundreds of mining rigs. I would go buy GPUs and I would just build mining rigs. And I was hardware, dude, all day long. Hardware. I love hardware. So I flipped computer parts and computer and PCs and things like that. And then eventually I was trying to solve this problem, and we invented this crafting product, and that one we turned into an actual company.
Nice. Can you speak about your crafting product real quick?
Yeah. I have one right next to me. Let me grab it. So it's a wood burning marker. You draw on wood with this marker, and then you heat it up, and then it burns into the wood only where you drew.
Really?
It's cool. So it's just
Yeah.
like a different way to wood burn. I was trying to wood burn our motto into this plaque for the fire department, and I grabbed the soldering iron, and I fucked up the whole thing, man. I got stuck on the wood grain, and the tip dug in, and I wasn't good at it. And so I was like, there's got to be a way I can do this with stencils, or an easier way. And so my wife wife and I had to spend like hundreds of hours researching this chemistry to figure it out. There was a way. We figured it out. We got it done. I completed the project. And after that, we were like, well, do you think someone might want to buy this? And that's literally how it started.
Wow. So you basically did your own science in your home and you're like, oh, it
Oh yeah,
works.
dude. I have tons of like videos from like all of the mixing of the chemistry, and like in my wood shop. It was nuts, dude. We spent a lot of time
Where'd
with
you
it.
learn how to do all that?
I
Not
did
everyone's
it.
a scientist.
No. We just research after research after research, learning the terminology, learning what had to be done, talking to experts, and we figured it out.
How long did
I
that
had no
take?
experience in chemistry. The first initial formula, it took weeks and weeks and weeks, a few hundred hours.
Okay.
Yeah, a few hundred
Wow.
hours.
You
Yeah, and since then we've been making it better and better. And now I have chemists that I pay, that are on my payroll, that help me develop new products based on our formula, and pass that off now. It's not my area of
nice.
expertise.
Would you say would you count yourself as a chemist?
No,
No,
nope,
not at all.
not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. I
Uh,
mean, there's probably not a single person on the planet that knows more about like thermoreactive compounds for wood burning, but I still don't consider myself a chemist. No.
Man, I'm just thinking like, wow, you ever seen like Dr. Stone? Like the like the little, what I'm talking about? Like the little anime thing.
No.
So it's
Uh-uh.
like he basically is like a scientist guy and he like makes anything out of anything. I'm like, okay, that sounds like you haven't like you're like, okay, I gotta figure this out. This is how this works.
I
Chemicals, it
really like
works.
problem solving. I promise you, man, you put a big enough problem in front of me that I really want to solve, and I'll get through it. I didn't know anything about mining rigs before I started building them.
You just figure it out.
We figured it out, dude. I would
I,
just
you, you
beat
know,
my head against it.
I tell this to people all the time. The bigger the problem is, the more money you will get. And
Hmm,
if you if you just think about it, if
that's
you find the
true.
cure for cancer, I mean, if you monetize that, like imagine how much you'll be getting. You'll be getting like millions, right? And
No doubt.
just imagine like every big problem that you can solve, you'll make money. You'll make money. So I tell people I'm just a problem solver. At the end of the day, that's my job.
I
If
love
I
that.
can figure out, hey, how to buy this property, seller financing, subject to whatever, then boom, that's my job. Uh, in grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I hear that.
And what got you into I know you're a bit like more of a philosophical guy as well. So what got you into like journaling and doing all this like type of you know, mind, like I know you do quiet time a lot.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, quiet time is really important to me. Um, if you think about it, like I'll answer that, but to talk to the quiet time really quick is if you think about it, how often do we have time without our phone or that we're not engaged in an activity during the day? It's just like never. You can't, I
Yeah.
couldn't think back to like more than 10 minutes where I just sat there alone with my thoughts. As soon as we wake up in the morning, we go. And as soon as our head hits the pillow, people are scrolling, we pass out. And it's just rinse and repeat every day. And so my brain hasn't had a chance to rest, recover, build new neural pathways, or just even I just get to sit with like the tumbling of thoughts in my head. I rarely get the chance just to go in and grab them and look at them. And so quiet time is important for me in the morning to do that. So the first part of what you asked is what got me into thinking differently. And it's just listening to people who have been more successful than me and have what I want. That's it.
Do you have
That's what
any
they do.
do you have any advice for people that want to do quiet time and like how they can get started and like journaling like you
Mhm.
do?
Yeah, my journal is to organize my thoughts so that I can put it down on paper and I don't have to keep it all in here. I want to try and make my brain's life as easy as possible because it's how I make my money and I want to put systems in place to help support it. It's a tool. So that's why I journal a lot and I write my to-do list. But to directly answer your question, the best way is to read the book Three Simple Steps. That's
Three
it.
simple
It
steps.
was so good, dude. So good. There's a lot of mindset books out there, like The Secret, Magic of Thinking Big, Think and
Yeah.
Grow Rich, et cetera, et cetera. You've read a majority of them, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But Three Simple Steps is by far the best mindset book out of all of those because it gives you actionable steps and it tells you in a story form. The book made me cry like 3 times. It was so good. It was so good, dude. And that's why I do quiet time now because of that book. And it's been super helpful.
Is that by Trevor Blake?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Okay. I never heard of that book. That's actually
Oh, dude.
I'll hit that one up. Would you
Yeah, it was
recommend
a banger. I never
audiobook
heard of it
or
too.
paperback?
Audiobook.
Okay. Okay. I'll hit that one
Yeah.
up.
It's got a
And
good narrative.
uh so how long do you spend on these like quiet times? And what
20
are the
minutes.
results? 20 minutes? And what are the results you get out of it?
Some of my best ideas have come out of quiet time. I have my journal next to me and my coffee, but I just focus on looking at the thoughts that are coming through my head and like grabbing them and either dropping them if they're not positive and looking at some of the things that come to the surface when my brain's just kind of quiet. And
Yeah.
it's really interesting. A lot of stuff you forget about too pops up then as well, and I can write it down.
I guess what a lot of people like whoever like a lot of people don't journal like I have like a thing on my computer that I do
Yeah,
because I tried the whole journaling thing. I'm like I'm not organized with that. So I'm like, I gotta put it on my computer.
totally cool.
And a lot of people, if you're hearing this, like imagine like you guys ever have those like shower thoughts while you're in a shower, you're like
Yes,
that's literally how it
theta
is
state.
whenever you're writing this down. It's like, okay, I think I come up with most of my ideas from the shower. I'm like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay. And I know Elon Musk, he does the same thing. He's like, oh, I do shower time. I'm like, okay. Like it's just like your own thoughts in your head. Like, I mean, yeah, books help. Books give you the knowledge, like, oh, this could work, this could work. But for you to actually make electricity, you're the one who has to plug it together and like, make it work, make it make sense.
Yeah, I've also heard that like they have waterproof paper so they can write down their thoughts.
Oh
So
yeah.
like
dude, I
that's
love
an
that.
idea if you guys want to include.
I
Start doing that.
no, the military, they already have waterproof paper. I know Pena knows about that.
Fucking expensive, bro. I see
They're
it in
pretty
TX all the time.
Oh wait,
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
oh,
Well,
And
if you're like outside in a food environment, I guess it's worth it. You'll be out there. You know it's gonna rain. It's worth it for you, but for everyday use, nah.
and
But
Evan,
outdoors though.
do you meditate as well?
No, that's quiet time is my meditation.
5 times your meditation. And I know it's like the monkey mind, right? If you read the Untethered Soul, you read the Untethered Soul?
No, I have it.
Oh, that's a book you have to read. It just talks
Okay.
about the thought in your head. And basically, is it mostly negative? the thoughts in your head, or is it like how what is that thought telling you? What is
Most
your
of my
head
thoughts are ideas. I
ideas?
rarely think negatively. That's one of my one of my strengths is I don't put there's not a lot of negativity in my life.
Yeah.
Either emanating from me or the people around me. I cut it out, dude. I don't like negativity. And so a lot of it, instead of it's like, oh man, dude, I want to lose this fat. It's like, no, I want to get big. I want to get cut.
Yeah.
You know, that's just a different way of framing the thought. And so my thoughts are inherently positive.
Oh, I get
So
it. I like that. You switch up the way it's said. Like instead of
it's
saying,
all
"Oh, I got,"
phrasing.
yeah,
Yeah, it's all phrasing. The mind in the universe doesn't know the difference between, it doesn't listen to the I don't want or I'm afraid of. And so worrying is just praying for things that you don't want. You keep thinking about that stuff, dude, it's gonna happen to you.
yeah. You're manifesting it in a
Hmm.
way. And what you said, like you were finding people. You added chemists to your team. Uh,
Hmm.
how'd you find these type of people? What are some, I guess, like tips you can provide that says, oh, these are good people to add to your team?
You gotta first figure out how to become a valuable person. And if you don't have value to give other people, then you need to figure out how to have a lot of money or a lot of energy to pay these people with. That's like one thing that you need to be thinking about. And a valuable person can be someone that you can give someone value by acknowledging their talents and skills. So I'm not saying that it only has to come from, you know, being more valuable yourself, but there's ways that you can give people value. The reason I bring that up is because that's how you get to know these kinds of people. Like you have to introduce yourself, you have to be around them. And it wasn't until I started putting myself out there and looking, figuring out what I wanted, and then looking for those people that had it so I could be around them. That's when things started to take shape. But you don't just like inherently like meet people just existing in your life unless you go out of your way to ask someone about themselves and learn about who they are, or you go seek them out. Those are really the only two ways to meet new people.
Oh, true.
You put
And
yourself out there, it was what it comes down to.
yeah, and I know is there some way that you can be a good like networker in a way? Because I know like you're a pretty good storyteller. Do you have any tips for those that are trying to like be a good storyteller, like have a good way of conversation with people?
Yeah, you have to be self-aware. You have to be self-aware so you can get better. Like I've not always been good at talking to people. It's taken a lot of reflection, a lot of listening to my own recordings, a lot of working on how I talk and my inflection and the speed of my voice. All of these things have been practiced for hours and hours and hours, because you can't get good at something unless you first suck at it. And it's like this curve. And so the answer to your question that I'm going to give you is you got to start. If you want to become good at networking, you want to become good at storytelling, you want to become a good speaker, you have to start, and you just have to practice. Look at the other person and how they're engaged with you. And, are they bored? Are they paying attention? What's their body language? There's so many things you can listen to figure out if you're a good speaker or not. And then you can be self-aware, like I said, and change the things that you need to change. But if you go into it thinking like, oh, I got this, I am a good storyteller, then you're saying that you can't get any better. And so it's about progress,
Mm-hmm.
about progress and being aware, man. I think it's totally doable. And it's very fun too. And if
Yeah.
you get that skill, bro, like if you have that skill of being able to storytell and communicate and network, oh, it's so valuable. It is so valuable. Man. We all know people that are like super charismatic, right?
Oh yeah.
You're like my brother's a great example. Like no matter where I am or who he's talking to, people love talking to him. And I'm like, God, dude, he has such a fucking leg up on me because I have to work so much harder at that than he does. He's just natural. But it can be learned.
Of course. Oh, what are some
Talent always beats hard. No, hard work always beats talent when talent doesn't work as hard.
of course.
True, man. Yeah, throw some discipline in there, dude. And you got a recipe that will beat hell every time.
Nice. What are some tips you have for those that you said recording yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying this because we have a lot of like now in these days we have a lot of hermits, right? A lot of people that are inside, they don't get enough connection with people. They're like, and when they do go outside, they're very awkward with people. And I get that. I get people saying that a lot. They're like, oh, they're just like closed in. They're like, hey, how can I communicate more? Because they say it's not your net worth, it's your wait, it's not your net worth, it's your network. Network. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Basically, what are some tips? You said like you record yourself and you hear yourself. Oh, that's how you say it. You watch their nonverbal communication. Do you do Toastmasters at all? Never. Okay.
Mm-mm. So I know what you're saying by your network is your net worth, because
Yeah.
totally true. Totally true. The more people you know, the more access to social capital you'll have. It's called social capital when you know a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it's very, very valuable. And I would, to give you like actionable tips to take, I would say start a TikTok and start a YouTube channel and obsess about it and watch yourself. It will force you to want to get more fit and hit the gym. It will force you to want to sit up straighter. It will force you to want to speak better, because you're going to be editing yourself and you're going to be like, ugh. Like, I know exactly where to look, like right in the camera, to know how to connect to the eyeballs on the audience. And I know exactly how to edit things based on my speech patterns. And it's super, super valuable if you can go down the path of doing any of those things. And so highly recommend it. Toastmasters is another great one. I don't know much about it, but I have heard that it's great.
Yeah.
And then just figure out how to put yourself in those positions, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that taking a job as like someone who works in the food and beverage industry or a counter service,
mhm.
that's an easy one. That's a really easy one, because you're getting paid and you're getting to practice talking to people all day. But as soon as that skills, like you've learned as much as you can at that counter, you quit and go find another job where you can learn more.
Yeah. And what are some places do you think you can meet people that are like, you see like you want to be the 5 people around, Uh I always tell people just go to a golf course. If you want to be rich, just go to a golf course. You probably meet some old men there that are like they have like some tech starter business that they'll talk about, and you're like, oh, let me just talk with them. Well, do you have any places or like locations that people should be around instead of like, drugs?
Yeah. Thought about this a lot. The first question you have to ask yourself is, what do I want?
Mhm.
Because there's different kinds of people. Not everybody wants to hang out with a bunch of rich white dudes and learn how to build tech businesses. Not smashing that idea. I think it's
Yeah.
a great idea, but some people, want to learn other stuff. And so I would first really think about it. Like, what do I actually want? Because that's a tough question. It's one of the big 3 questions that we ask ourselves in our lifetime. What do I want? Who am I? And why am I here? And so if you can answer, what do I want? Fuck, dude, you have a leg up on most people in the world. Most people just exist and react to what's happening around them. But when you decide on what you want, you can laser focus on that idea and that thing. And so you say, okay, cool. I want to learn how to be an investment banker. Like, I want it. I want to learn how to run like 4 Taco Bells, like franchise and own it. Like, then you can figure out where that person is that has those things. You can figure out where they hang out. Is it a classic car meetup?
Yeah.
Is it a golf course? Is it entrepreneur groups? And so a lot of times those places, you have to have some money to get access to them as well. And so while you're figuring out what you want and where you want to go, you also need to be increasing the value of yourself with skills, so you can make more money and then get access when the time is right.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of hard work with that as well, because people are you gotta like build yourself up to that point, like you said. And why do you think a lot of people give up in a way? What do you think they're lacking that they like, oh, I gotta quit?
Man, there's so many reasons. There's so many reasons. I mean, they could just not know their limits. They could not know that, success is right around the corner and this is just part of the process, because they don't have a mentor or somebody that they know that's done it before. They can just be intimidated by fear and give up like just before the finish line. Like, there's so many reasons why people would quit. But I think an even better question is like, how can I be successful? What can I do to win? And I think that comes down to 3 things: your skills, your beliefs, and your character traits. And so that's what I would focus on if you want to win and not quit. Like, those are the things you need to learn. And I'll give you a quick example. Skills are like learning how to sell, understanding finance, learning how to build websites, learning how to public speak. Those are all skills.
Mhm.
Beliefs are like, oh, it's possible for me to think about myself differently. Holy shit. Like it's possible that, you know, I can think about like those people that have harmed me as just sick individuals and it has nothing to do with me. You know, they're on their own journey and I'm not the person that needs to feel their pain. Or just that's a good example of a belief. Or like, oh my gosh, this does exist. It's possible. And then there's character traits, which is like honesty, open-mindedness, respect, tenacity, growth mindset, you know, these things that you can instill in yourself by just learning about them.
Mm. And if you could give a young man some advice on who's financially stable, they want to invest, but uh, they don't know whether the right way to invest, whether it's like uh, going through the real estate path, going through the what you did, the business path, like what is your advice to them?
How do they want to get rich? I think that is a big question that needs to be answered. Like,
Yeah,
how do you want to get? You want to get rich in crypto? Do you want to get rich in the stock market? Do you want to get rich long term? You know, by investing in a Roth IRA and just coasting as a business or as an employee?
yeah.
Do you want to get rich in real estate? Like, what is your thing? And then I would invest all of my money into learning skills about that thing.
What's
You
your
know,
opinion on like stocks and crypto and all that?
I have all of it. I have all of it. I'm super into understanding of to have a deep understanding of cryptocurrency. I've been in that space since 2012, man. I love it. So
Nice.
I dollar cost average into Bitcoin and Ethereum every single week. And that hasn't stopped. It's been like that for years. I don't care what the price is. I just keep buying it. I just keep buying it. I don't care. It's going to be worth a lot in 10 years. And I'm playing that long game. In terms of stocks, I have my Roth IRA set up for me and, you know, all my kids, my family members. We have brokerage accounts and SEP IRAs and rollovers, just things like that. We have traditional stocks, is what I'm trying to say. But it's mainly invested in dividend stocks and then ETFs, index funds for
Yeah.
long-term growth. I don't think that's how I'm going to get rich. I'm going to get rich by building a business and or through real estate,
Hmm.
you know, because we have rental properties as well. And those are two ways that I can see yourself getting rich. Crypto's a little riskier than these two. So if you wanted to get rich in business, then you need to put yourself around business people and invest in business skills. If you want to get rich in real estate, like get some skills in real estate, like take a wholesaling course or, you know, or learn how to use other people's money to, you know, syndicate a deal. Like
Yeah,
if you can get those skills and buy those skills, it's going to be way more valuable than just buying some Robinhood stock.
of course. And talk about your first house. Like, how'd you get that one? Or how'd you get your first rental property?
The main reason we bought the rental property was so we could cost segregate the purchase and save money on our taxes.
Nice.
That was the main reason. But we also knew that we wanted it to cash flow. And we also knew that we wanted to dip our feet into this real estate area, see if it was something we liked.
Mhm.
So my wife is the property manager. We bought a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house in the town over. And we decided to take that single family house and turn it into a 4-unit by renting out each individual room to traveling professionals. So we rehabbed it. I got a loan for, I think my loan, my interest rate is about 3.5, which is
Pretty
great
good. Yeah.
given today's standards. My mortgage payment's around $2,200. And so I have 4 bedrooms. And so I'm like, okay, how can we make this so fucking dope that people are going to want to spend a premium to live here? Well, we got to make it look nice. So then we spent like 9 months or 3 months rehabbing it. It took us 90 days to rehab it, floors, paint, baseboards, and then we furnished it. And then we made it really, really nice and really super turnkey with like nice locks. And we put fucking nice shit in there and bathrooms, redid all those. And we rented out each room. And so now the whole place is going to cash flow for $4,700. And my rent roll is 22, or my rent is 2,200. And so I'm getting a huge return on investment by buying the property.
Nice. Nice.
It's
And
great.
do you have like a lot of these guys they have they're not thinking about, oh, CPAs, attorneys. How's that looking for you? Do you have like did you set up before your business or while you were doing your business, you started adding these guys in and out? And was it
So
was like a roller coaster with each one?
that's a good question. And I know what you're trying to ask because you can't put the chicken before the egg, especially if you don't
Yeah.
have any fucking money. You know, if you're bootstrapping a business, like what are you gonna do? Like go consult with an attorney for $3,000? No, it's not gonna happen. It's a stair-stepping effect. Okay. And as you make some sales, you'll get some money to come in to buy some more inventory, and then you can put the profits back into the business to buy something that will make you more money or save you more time. you know? And so a good example of that is buying more inventory so I can make more money, buying some advertising to make more money, okay? Paying a bookkeeper to sort out my financials so that I can save the time and I won't have to worry about it. Paying a CPA to save me $15,000 in taxes when it only cost me $5 to pay him to do it for me,
Yeah.
you know, saving me money. And so you get to choose as that money comes into your business where you're going to spend it. And one of the first places to spend it is on a bookkeeper to get them, you know, that $90 a month, $150 a month, so they can make sure everything's lined out. So you know how much money you're making. You know, that translates into your taxes, that translates into inventory projections, it translates into just being a good fucking business owner.
So what is your end goal anyway? Is it to be financially free, or is it to have, like, what is it?
My end goal is going up into space. I'm going to build infrastructure, and that's the end goal. So there's a bunch of levels in life, and I was at level 0, and I just got to like the first level and crossed over into, you know, that 7-figure business owner. And I'm learning now to get how to get to the next level where I can sell a business for more than 8 figures. So my goal is to sell my manufacturing company eventually to the right buyer for $33 million. And that will get me to a place where I won't have any more financial problems, right?
Yeah.
I'll be in a state of pure creativity. I won't ever have to do anything for money ever again. And so I can only focus on things that I want to do. And so that's like the first like big hurdle that we need to cross so that I can dump all of my time and creative energy into something that's special. And so that's when there might be a business in between. But eventually we're going up. That's my sports team that I want. You know, other people want to buy sports teams and do big shit. Like I want to start a space mining company. We're going to help with the infrastructure to get minerals back to Earth. It's going to be fucking awesome.
Space mining. Okay, that's
It's
exciting.
that's where I'm at, dude. Like I dream about it. I read about it. I know shit about it. Like my heart has been raised in science fiction books. Like I want to get up there, dude. I want to get up there.
Hey, I'm with you. One of my dreams is to be an astronaut as well. I want to see the moon, like, in my lifetime.
Wouldn't that be so sick?
Yeah, going up there, like, fuck yeah.
Mhm.
And I like that you say like there's levels to this. Level 1 is just reaching financial freedom. Like, people think it's
Yeah.
like that's like level 100. No, that's like the base level. And to do
Mhm.
that, you already have a plan. You're like, once my business pops off, I'm gonna sell for 33 million, and like with the right buyer, and then I'm gonna guess then once you reach that financial freedom, you're now gonna be a free thinker. You're like, okay, what are some things that I can do? And for you, do you only think all by yourself, or do you have a group of people that think with you as well, like your own round table, I guess?
Mm. I talked to my team is pretty good. Like I have a core group of like 7 direct reports that I meet with a couple times a week, you
Mhm.
know, and they run different aspects of my business, and we talk about ideas all the time. My wife too is a big idea person, but also my network. Like I'm just always talking to people in our Facebook groups and, you know, in our incubator groups and, you know, in my private groups and with my friends. It's just, I surrounded myself with people that are always talking ideas. It's taken me over 10 years to do, man. So it's not going to happen fast, but you grab this person, you become friends with this person, you become friends with this person, and ideas are just something that people talk about. And I want to share something with you that I heard that had a big effect on me. Was small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and great minds discuss ideas. And that really stuck with me. And
I
so
like
that's
that.
why I've put so much emphasis on it.
Wow, I like that. I've never actually thought of it like that. That's
Mhm.
mm. But I can see that now, that great minds talk about the thing about ideas. Like, whenever I think of ideas, I'm like, okay, the wheel. Someone already made the wheel. A car. Someone already made the car, right? I thought of your thing. I'm like, wood. Basically, you're like carving. You're like using a marker on wood. I'm like, whoa, that's sick. Like, how did you even come up with that? Like, that is like that's like a problem that you had personally. That you're like,
Yeah.
okay. So is most of it like what problems you have personally, and then you're like, okay, let me figure out ways that I can solve it if it doesn't already exist. Is that how you incorporate
Every
things?
single thing.
Wow.
Every single business idea has all been because I like, I don't have a way to do this. It doesn't exist. Like I need help with this one thing. If only there was a way to do this.
Man. And in the future, do you try to, it's like, it's like the who's, your net worth. So do you try to get the people that already know it, or do you want to figure it out yourself first?
When you have money and when you have money to spend, you
Yeah.
can do that. Absolutely. Either that, or you need to make big promises and deliver on those promises. But so in the beginning, you have to figure out how to make some fucking money so you can pay these people and get them
Yeah.
around you. You need to figure out how to be valuable. So you got to work on your own skills, character traits, and beliefs to be more valuable. But yes, the short answer to your question is yes. I look for people now because I've gotten to a point where I don't know more than the people that I'm hiring. I'm hiring them because they're experts in what they do. They're experts in Amazon, experts in TikTok advertising, experts in chemistry, experts in supply chains. And so I need their help so that my vision and my ideas can become real.
Wow. Yeah. That's that's crazy the way your thought process is, because a lot of people, they have it backwards. They're like, hey,
Hmm.
just keep working on your business. So like that, so you can open up so once that blows up, you can start more businesses or like that. But you're like, hey, let me think of more ideas, because this, right, your brain is what makes profit. That's what you're saying. And not only that, like, you give yourself, like, I don't, that's what I do see a lot of, like, entrepreneurs like yourself, is that you guys take time to yourself. And you're like, okay, instead of putting efforts into other people's businesses, like you're spending a lot of time on Uncle Sam, or you're paying him tax money. So why not, like, give yourself the benefit of the doubt, like, hey, I need 20 minutes to myself. Let me write my ideas on this, and boom, it works. It makes sense. And can you go through that? Like, how does the whole system works? Like, how do you, for your invention, how does the patent and all that, where do you go? How do you do it? I've never made anything. So can you talk about that real quick?
Yeah, there's like two ways to protect yourself when you invent something, and that's to patent it and protect yourself legally, or it's to build a brand around it. They call them building moats. And so one moat is, the legal moat, and then you have the brand moat, and just be so big and unstoppable and recognizable that other people can't compete because you're better. And so that's the two pathways to go down. And so let's talk about the legal pathway. The legal pathway is trademarks and patents. Of patents, there's three different types. There's utility patents, design patents, and then there's seed patents. Seed patents are obvious. Those are for plants. Design patents are the way something looks, and utility patents are the way something works. And so you can basically say, hey, I invented this thing, and go to the US Patent and Trademark Office, hire a patent agent or a patent attorney, present them with your invention and be like, yo, this is what I want to patent. And then they'll search all the patents and they'll say, sorry, bro, someone already patented that. You're a shit out of luck. Or they'll say, actually, this could work. And so then they'll write up a patent and submit it, and the process takes a few years and a few $1,000s.
Really? Is that what happened?
Trademark.
Is that what happened
Huh?
with you? Did you,
Yeah, we have
okay.
patents. We have a PCT patent, which is basically worldwide. That's patent pending. And then, and is there for a year until we may decide. And then we have a non-provisional patent in the United States. Non-provisional means that it's, set in stone for the full 21 years.
Yeah. The only fear that I can think of, like, I'm thinking while you're speaking, and I'm like, oh, wow, if I were to make something, uh, and I go to the lawyer, I'm like, hey, I want to patent this. They're like, sorry, someone already made it. I'm like, who made this? They're not even like on social media about this. It's like that one episode of Full House where, like, I forgot what the character is, but like, he's the uncle. He made like this shield, thing for the face, and you spray your hair.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, wow, I made this cool invention. I'm about to sell this. And then the guy that actually made it, like way beforehand, like 20 years before, he's like, he called him and said, hey, if you do this, I'll sue you. I'm like, okay. So how do you get to that? Like, do you just do a lot of research? Like, hey, has anyone ever made this yet? And then
That's what
you
a
start
patent
making it?
search is.
Okay. Is there a way
Yeah.
to
So
like,
you
is there
pay
a
for
way to
part
do,
of that.
is there a way to do all the patent search, or is it like you have to go to a lawyer?
You don't have to go to a lawyer. You can look it up on uspto.gov, which is the Patent and Trademark Office. You can search all the trademarks and you can search all the patents. It's all public record. And so you have to learn how to use their software and like search through them. But yeah, you can.
Okay. See, we just don't know this. Now
Yeah.
that's something new that I know. You can look up patents now. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
I've
And
never
then
heard
to
of.
the other point, there's trademarks, and trademarks are design marks and word marks. And design marks are the way like your logo looks. If it's
Yeah.
unique enough, you can trademark that. And then the word mark is, they'll give you a specific category depending on like what you're selling. If you're selling
Like,
t-shirts, it'll be merchandise. If you're selling like arts and craft supplies, it'll be arts and craft supplies trademark.
let's
So
get
you
rid
can
of
word
Rumble.
mark yourself. Yeah, yeah, you could
Okay.
do that.
Okay.
But
Uh,
totally.
that's interesting that it works like that. Like, what are some of the, when you first started doing this, what were some of the difficulties that you've seen? Like, oh, was that one of the paths? Like, oh, you have to patent it. Like, did you know like things like patenting and all that?
Not really. Not really. I didn't know much about it. I had to learn it as I was doing it. But the biggest issue that I see is people wait. People wait for their patents and they wait to patent things. They wait to get trademarks before they start. And I think that's so stupid. Like legal stuff is there to help you, but it's not a prerequisite and it's not something that you have to have before you can start. In fact, if you want to do it, you should start now. Like tonight, you should get started on it and not wait for anything else. That's the biggest issue that I've seen in that space.
Okay. And what happens if you do start selling it, but you didn't know like, oh, someone made it in like China or some or like somewhere, let's say Europe. Someone made it in Europe and you just didn't know about it, but you're still selling it like locally. Is what would happen in that situation from your
Well, it
experience?
depends. So in the first part, like if you're dead serious about your business, you better get fucking smart and like pay attention and do some research and figure out if other people have made it.
Yeah.
So like I looked around, like I searched hard. I searched the patent and trademark office. I searched eBay, I searched Amazon, I searched YouTube, I searched Google and Bing and all these different places looking for information about this one thing. And like I couldn't find shit, right? I couldn't find anything. So you better try. Otherwise, you're gonna if you don't and someone has already made it, that's your fault. You should have paid more attention.
Yeah.
So if you are in that situation though, it depends on what the other person wants to do about it. So if someone copies my stuff, I can send them a cease and desist letter, and if they don't stop selling it, then I could technically bring them to court, litigate against them, sue them, bring them to court, and then try and recoup the money that they've made from it or taken from me. But even then, that's an expensive path to go down. So what has happened, I've seen other people in the past. What's really common is like they'll be making like Cartoon Network themed like 3D printed items, and Cartoon Network will send them a letter and say like, "Hey, you're not allowed to sell these.
Really?
This is our property, our intellectual property, and we have patents and trademarks on all this stuff." And stop immediately, and they'll have to stop.
Wow. So how do you get it? Like, like companies that make there's like 10 different types of cheeseburgers you can make. There's 10 different types of protein powder you can make. So like, what's the difference between that and like doing what you do? Is like the name of it, the name of the brand? Like, well, how much can you copy, but not like fully like steal in a way? Like, I know there's so
I
many
don't know.
different, you know, that
I
part.
don't know. I know there's small variations that you can make to,
Yeah.
get your own to squeeze around it and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the exact specifics are in terms of like how much you have to change. Like if there's a certain percentage, like 80% different or
Uh-huh.
90% different or 10% different, I don't know.
Yeah. Because I would guess like, I'm trying to think of like how people can like make something like yours, but have it different where are able to sell things like it.
And
Uh,
honestly, it doesn't even matter unless I decide to do something about it. It's the only time it matters,
really?
owning it. So they could be selling stuff, and doing it and making a bunch of money and copying my exact product, my label and everything. And if I don't know about it, nothing I can do,
Wow.
And even if I do know about it, what am I going to do? Am I going to sue them? Then what? I'm going to spend $10,000 on attorneys to hopefully get what? To get them either to stop or to get my money back. And if they're a small company, the chances of me getting my money back are almost zero. And so then what? Like, what's the easiest way to get them to stop selling it is not always suing them or going to court. So it's a heavy decision. And so what you're speaking of is a lot of people are afraid of, but it's actually not something that you should be afraid of because it rarely happens.
Oh, okay. Because it's like, it's so weird to me. It's like, okay, you're saying don't be afraid of because, you could sell anything basically is what you're
Mhm.
saying. And it'll just work out. And, oh, you just gotta be
What-
in
what-
there. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
what I'm saying is you need to pay really close attention and do your due diligence because
Yeah.
it's a waste of your time to try and sell something that is already out there and someone's already selling because it's inevitable. If you get big enough, they're going to notice you and they're going to want a piece. And so it's what I'm saying is that it's your responsibility to do that research in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're armed with the knowledge. Now you know what's possible. So
Yes.
I think it's worth paying attention to, but I still don't think it should stop you.
Okay. And what constitutes you as a perfect day for you? Like, what is a perfect day?
Productivity, getting a piece of little everything that I want to get done. It's a quiet time in the morning. getting some deep work on my projects done and moving my projects forward, having a few conversations with my teammates, and then spending time with my family and then my wife. Like all of those things. Being a CEO, a dad, and a husband, those are the three things that I want to do every day that fill my cup.
Now, a lot of people, they don't realize it, but you have a kid, you have a wife. Is it difficult that, uh, like, was it difficult, like, doing a business and running, like, a family as well? Sounds weird that I'm saying
Mhm.
running a family, but it's true. You got
No,
to,
it's hard. You have to run it. Yeah, my wife and I divide and conquer. It's the only way.
when was your kid born?
I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son.
Wow,
So I've had
okay.
kids for a handful of years now, and it's dope, dude. It can be done.
So they were there when you first started too.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
they were there with me in the fire department. They used to come over for dinners,
yeah.
and things like that. Ride in the fire engine with me.
Wow, I bet that was scary, like, trying to start a business and it's like, okay, but, we got
Everybody doubted
kids.
me.
Really?
Everybody called me crazy for quitting, for leaving. The guys at work that really knew me, they're like, "Oh yeah, we knew you weren't going to stay, bro." Because they knew I would. They'd be racked back in the recliners watching sports, and I'd be fucking working on my website.
I can relate
So
with that. I can relate
yeah,
with
but
that, exactly.
everybody's like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, are you sure? Can't you get your job back?" People at work, like certain people just calling me up. My parents, my family, doubters.
Quick question with that. How do you deal with family members, especially family members that, you got to stick with them because, you don't have to stick with them, but they're just there. Like, it's like, but how do you deal with that? Like their negativity?
I don't care about it. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Mm,
I'm gonna live my life for them. And so I have this unique character trait in where I really don't give a fuck what people think.
yeah.
And it's different than my wife. Like my wife is heavily invested what other people think of her. It's very important to her, which sucks. But she's able to have more empathy and I'm not. And
Yeah.
so there's a trade-off for it. But to directly answer your question, I don't give a fuck what my family thinks, dude. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm gonna do it. Like, and my wife is with me because she knows that. She knows that I'm going to keep walking and just keep going towards my goals, and everything else will get left behind. If you don't believe, I don't care. Like what you think about me is none of my fucking business. And so I just keep trugging on, and she's with me, and we're like this, dude. We're very tight. We're very
Yeah.
close. And so the family that is always like barking in your ear, the people you can't get rid of, I just treat them like NPCs, man.
I say it
They're not
all
my
the time.
problem.
There's a lot of
Not my
NPCs
problem.
in the world.
So many, dude. Not my problem.
Wow. And did you learn how'd you learn that skill? Because I know like a lot of you are like, well, I can't not care. I gotta be the nice guy, whatever. Like, was it just like from a constant like pain that they gave on you? You're like, you know what, I'm done. I'm gonna stop caring about what you guys think. I'm just gonna work on my shit.
Mm, it was when I realized that they don't know any more than me.
Wow.
Most people just don't know more than me. They don't know better than me. For me, my own decisions, nobody knows better than me. And not my parents, not my dad. They don't know what I want. And even if they did know, they don't know how to get there. So why would I care about what they have to say? They don't know how to get what I want. They've never done it before. They don't know what steps I need to take. So the people I do care about and what they have to say are the people who have been where I want to go. And that's who I listen to because they've done it. And they're like, no, Evan, you need to do it this way. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool,
Okay.
cool.
Wow. I want to applaud for you that one. That was good because a lot of
Yeah,
they
thanks,
don't
man.
know. They don't know. A lot of people like they're your peers. They don't know anything. They're just jealous. It's envy.
Why
And
would you listen to a high school teacher who's like, dude, you're never gonna make it, dude. Like you're a shit rapper. And it's just like, fuck you, dude. What do you know? You're not a rapper. You don't know how to get there.
I told my sister this like, hey, uh, I wouldn't listen to your financial teacher because let's be honest, are they, are they rich? Like if they're gonna give you advice, like I would like to see their network. I mean their net worth. And I keep getting that mixed up, but yeah, their net worth, like because guess what? I keep telling my sister, like, hey, you don't want to listen to your financial teacher. Look where they work at. They don't care. They're doing it for a job. They're telling you, hey, get a W-2, do this, pay your tax. They barely teach you about this. I'm like, why do you want to listen to her when you could? I'm not saying listen to me, but I'm saying you can read these books that can help you out. They could teach you better. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all this stuff. Like, come on, like
Mm-hmm.
it's you just got to know that not the people that you're surrounded with right now are probably not the best people to give you advice. And
You take spiritual advice from people that are more spiritual than you.
yes,
Financial advice from people that have more money than you.
Yes.
Business advice on people that have better businesses than you. You know, the same thing. You know, you wouldn't go ask like a skinny or a fat dude on like how to properly lift at the gym
Yeah.
because they don't know how. They don't have it. They haven't
Yeah.
proved that they've done it.
It's true. I like that. That you see the results. If you see the results, you ask the questions.
Yeah.
And
Find the people who get results, not the people that talk, but the people that actually do and have.
yes. And what do you think? What do you believe in action that someone can take that could pay dividends to their future?
Read more books.
Read more books.
Read more books. Listen to more books. Instead of watching Netflix, read more book. Listen to an audiobook. Instead of listening to a podcast at the gym, like listen to a book or listen to a podcast that's going to teach you something, you know, instead of music. I'm telling you, man, like most of the knowledge, most of the secrets are out there in books. Just people don't want to do it because it's boring to some people. But I mean, you speed them up, dude. You put them on like 1.3.
Yeah.
You can jam through a book even faster, bro. It's like the Matrix, bro. You can download shit into your brain. So
Yeah.
cool.
And I can't believe like the amount of books that I finished in a year just from listening to books.
Yeah, it's
And
great.
it's like some like a thick book like this, you could finish that in like a couple days, 2 times speed, 3 times speed if you wanted to get
Mhm.
because most books are kind of boring to the point where they got like things that you could learn. They're like gems, right? You pick out 1 or 2 things. You're not supposed to take out everything out of it. If you want to take
Mhm.
everything out of it, you keep listen to it. It's not. Don't listen to a book 10 times. What is it like? Don't listen to 10 books one time. Listen to one book 10 times. If it's like
Mm.
really big, like this book is helped you a lot, just keep reading it. You know what I mean? You'll see that it'll affect you. It'll affect you differently every year or every time you read a book. Read that same book. And well, what's the important lesson that you learned this year?
Being nice and happy is more important than being right.
Mm.
Yeah. If you just be nice and learn and actually give a shit about soft skills like gratitude and patience and tenacity and forgiveness and, kindness, you'll go further in life.
I like that. You're a giver.
Hmm.
Do you ever have FOMO? Like the fear
All
of
the time.
missing out? Huh.
All the time. Yeah. That's why I store all my crypto in a hardware wallet so it's harder to spend.
Wow.
Because I get that FOMO too, dude. I'm not immune. No, 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 sir. Like I want to jump on. I get shiny object syndrome. But I realized this last year that I was average at a lot of things and not great at one thing. And so I stopped all the extra shit, all the extra businesses, all the extra ideas just to focus on making this company great.
Wow. Okay. Man, like yeah, like a lot of I've actually never heard of that. Like you said, like you actually do have FOMO in a way, and that
Oh,
it's
oh hell yeah, dude.
you just got to control it. And
Yeah.
I figure for myself, like Instagram. I think Instagram is brain rot. At the end of the day, I'm like I can't go on there and stay on there. I only want to produce, like give content, but I can't stay there and actually look at the content because I'm like, oh, they're on vacation, they're doing this because it's all positivity on Instagram. It's never negativity, or like that's what I see, and it's always
Yeah, but then
pros.
you compare yourself to it.
Yeah, it's never good.
Slippery slope.
Yeah. And we can move on to the ending questions here. But first we're gonna ask the panel if they got any last questions before we move on. So we can start off with Chris here. Chris, go ahead.
So like you said that you were did rentals, like room rentals. So like
Yep.
that's like sort of like STR, short-term rentals. Is that like on
Mhm.
Airbnb? And what kind of finishes and management style did you guys pick with that?
We went on Furnish Finders and Craigslist. Those are the 2 places we listed the rental. And we're using Business Venmo to collect rent payments. And I put together a lease agreement and everything else like that. So it's pretty low maintenance. But we contracted with a housekeeper and a lawn guy to come over and do the housekeeping and the cleaning. And we paid for utilities and put like a TV and like Netflix and all that shit in there and Wi-Fi. So that we can increase the value of the place. Someone moves in, they're like, I don't have to do anything. I can just plop my shit down and exist. We wanted to make it really easy to move in and really easy to be there. And so that's what our whole business model is centered around is traveling professionals who need a place for like 1 to 6 months.
Okay. Oh, so
Okay.
it's not like one day travel and stuff like that. It's I get what you mean now.
Yeah, so it's not exactly short-term rentals like Airbnb and stuff because that was too much of a business. Airbnb is a business, dude.
It is. Yeah.
It takes some time and energy, man.
It's really aggravating sometimes some days. But yeah, but furnish there's three types of like rentals you could think of, Chris. There's long term, short term, and there's I call it like midterm, right? People
Yeah, I
that
get.
people that stay for like 3 to 6 months, right? Uh, not usually long, but usually you'll see those as travel nurses most of the time.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Yep, we thought travel nurses were going to be the first people to jump in on this, but it's been linemen.
really,
Hmm?
wow, okay. Chris, you got any other questions?
No, that was my main concern because, like I said, I'm doing the wholesale thing.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to figure out like what's the mind of an investor in doing this. If I'm gonna be offering a 6 bedroom unit, what is he gonna try to do with this in this location? What kind of finishes is he gonna go for? Stuff like that. So
It's a good question.
yeah.
yeah,
And like what Evan does, like again, he has a contingency plan and he's a problem solver, right? Uh,
Hmm.
if you have like people will think like, oh, you have 5 bedrooms, how are you gonna rent that out? How are you gonna make money off of it? There's a college right there. Get a bunch of dudes in there and look, you're making money. It's
no, but the thing with college is that you also have to like take account the damages that they
damage.
might
Yeah,
do.
there's a lot of that. That's why you gotta take accountability of a lot of things. You gotta again contingency plan. Like
You
you
got to
gotta
choose
put
your customer too. That helps.
yeah, play what
Yeah.
ifs. Pena, if you got a question, go ahead.
Yes. So at the beginning, right, when you were a firefighter, you mentioned that you listen to people, but I did not catch who, or like you didn't specify who you listen to, like your coworkers or people you helped out, or did you like yourself just reach out to people and ask the questions? So like who was this person that like helped you initiate your whole mindset that you have now?
That's a good question, Pena. So it was actually a coworker. I was sitting at the coffee table. We do shift change, and everybody kind of mingles at the coffee table to give a pass down report of what happened in the last 24 hours and the new shifts coming on. And I was sitting there with a cup of coffee. I was working on the ambulance that day. This is when I was just a paramedic, and the captain that came in on the truck sat down at the coffee table, and he took a sip, and someone said, "Hey, man, hey, Josh, how's your Amazon business, dude? Like I heard it's popping off." And I was like, what is this? And this guy was an enthusiast, dude. He was an outdoorsy guy, but he also was really into Apple products. And so he had this Apple Watch wristband, and he invented a rich wristband that made out of paracord that you could unravel and use for rescue or whatever. And it had an adjustable link on it, so your watch would never like come off. It was cool. And so he got a prototype made, and he found a manufacturer to make them in China, and he bought a few thousand of them, and they sent them to him. And all he had to do was put them in a baggie, put a label on it, and ship them into Amazon. Amazon was taking care of the customer service, the shipping, the payments, the collecting, the listing info, all of it. All he had to deal was customer service occasionally. And he was making $8,000 a month in addition to his firefighter wages. And I was like, what? And so I spent the whole day asking him questions about his business, and he told me all these steps that I just shared with you. And I was like, oh my God, dude, like I can do this too. I could do that. Like he's not smarter than me, he's not better than me. It's no disrespect to Josh, but he's like, but he's just like, I could, why not me? And so
Yeah.
that's when we took the first version of Scorch Marker, put it in empty marker, and put them on Amazon. And it took 3 months to sell one.
Ooh.
Then it took another 2 months to sell another.
Oh.
I didn't know what I was doing. But as soon as we started
Yeah.
to pick up steam, money started to come in, and we would reinvest it. And now we do millions. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that situation to be in to hear from other people, then there are a few creators and a few people that put out content and a few authors that will teach you exactly what I learned that day.
Okay. Thank you.
I like that. I like that. You remind me of like Evan, you remind me of like myself because I'm the guy that you because I'm the guy that goes up to people and they're like, you ask so many questions I'm like, I know, I know. It's like, you keep, like, when people refer to me, they're like, oh, that's the guy that asks so many questions. If you're gonna sit down with him, he's gonna ask you 100 questions. Just get ready. I'm like, I know. It is, I'm eager to learn. It gets you excited. I'm like, oh, wow.
I
Now
feel
you
that.
got me wanting to do like some type of like, Amazon business now. I'm doing the books thing, but you're like, you can just make something that, problem solving and boom. But
No
now
doubt.
let's move on to the ending questions here.
Sure.
So if you can go back in time and give your younger self some advice, what would it be?
Read more books.
Read more books.
Read more books. Start earlier. Everything, majority of what I've learned, like, is all come from books one way or another. Like, dude, I will reach out to authors and be like, yo, what's up, man? Like, dude, I straight up will do it. And that is not off limits. You can absolutely do that. And I would highly encourage it. So seriously, just read more books. Everything, all the good stuff I've learned has been from books.
Okay, nice. David here has a question. Go ahead, David.
So whenever you're in, like you notice yourself being lazy or unproductive, how do you stop yourself and get back into that productive mindset?
Stop smoking weed and hit the gym. You can smoke after you've gotten your stuff done for the day, right? You can reward yourself with that. That's fine. But you gotta. What do you want more? Now I know that's not the answer you're looking for. So I have really become addicted to productivity. Like, growing my business and earning more money and making shit happen makes me feel so good. I love being a boss. I love being a leader. I love creating content. Like, I'm fucking into it, dude. And so in times of low productivity, because I love it, it makes it easier. So if you're choosing a job, like, or a business to start that you don't love, it's a lot harder to dig yourself out of that productivity. Now, the shortest answer that I can give you is to change your state. Just physically change your state. So if you're feeling lazy and unproductive, sitting on your couch, then change your state. Go put yourself in a different location.
Environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Now,
And
David, I'm not trying to say you were smoking weed, dude. I was just giving an overarching principle and something that I could relate to. And so I'm just throwing that out there, dude. I appreciate the question. I wasn't throwing shade at you.
I got you. Thank you.
what would you ask your future self, Evan?
What skills do I need to be focusing on right now to have gotten where I've gotten?
Okay.
And so, like, I envision myself as somebody who has arrived and has just sold a company for $33 million. And I have that much liquidity to my name now. My net worth is increased. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, what do I need to be focusing on right now? Like, what's the most important thing for me to do that you had to learn to get there? That's what I would ask him.
Nice. And what do you think the secret sauce is to being like quote unquote successful?
Self-awareness is a big part of it. Yeah, a lot of it is in soft skills. And so, like, being able to say that I'm not the best at this and being able to learn and take advice. Because when you say, like, I got this, like, I already know it, like, you can't learn anymore. There's always someone that's bigger, faster, stronger, better than you. Always. There always will be. And so, therefore, there's always something more that you can learn. So to say that you're good in this one category, it's foolish. And if you look at yourself and you are saying these things to yourself in any way, shape, or form, then you are not self-aware. And so self-awareness is going to help you to be a better person, which is going to elevate your skills, character traits, and beliefs, turning you into the person that's capable of handling success, more money, the girl, whatever.
Wow, I like that. And next question is, how do you get out of analysis paralysis, where you're just there reading, taking information, but you're not taking any action?
I'll give you a quote by one of these guys I really respect named Alex Ramosi. You got to get time under the bar. There's certain types of experience that are informational, like that you can read about, and there's certain types of experience you can only get by doing. And you just have to start. There's so many things you will never learn unless you just start. And actually, I would argue that it's faster to learn if you just start. Like, step on your dick a few times, stumble through it, but do it. Learn what sucks and what doesn't suck. Learn what costs you more and doesn't cost you more. And it's all worth it. So I would say just start.
Nice. And I was gonna say the next question is gonna be, what quote do you live by? But if you have another quote that you would like to say, go ahead.
What quote do I live by?
Yeah.
Hmm. Man, that's a really good question because I apply a lot of quotes to my life at different periods in time. You know, um, like I'll give you a good example. Like we talked about skills, character traits, and beliefs. Like I talk about that all the time. And like you got to get time under the bar, or you have to embrace the suck, which means you have to, embrace, the uncomfortable stuff that makes you feel really uncomfortable in the moment because it will pay off long term.
Yeah.
Like actually telling the truth to somebody, or apologizing to somebody right away, or hitting the gym or doing the stretching, or not eating that thing that you really want to eat.
Yeah.
All of these things, if you chase that uncomfortable. So yeah, well, we can leave the quote there because much like asking somebody to tell you a joke, I can't remember them right
No, you're good. And I
now.
know you're this, this is one of the questions. What books would you're a big guy on books, all right? So
Yeah.
what books would you recommend for certain things, situations, parts of your life? Go ahead. You can spit out all the books that you like, you enjoy. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna just give you a short little list because for financial literacy, I think you need to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, The
Yes.
Richest Man in Babylon, and I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Those three books will just set you up. And once you understand financial stuff, then you can start transitioning into like the other areas of your life. And for like health and stuff, like I would really recommend like the 4 Hour Body and the Four Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
Like those are great to give you like an understanding that people are playing with this stuff in the body and you can find experts and learn from them. If you want to be big, you can be big. You want to lose weight, you can lose weight. There's ways how to do it because mastering yourself is the first process. And then when you're getting into business and stuff, there's so many books that you can read. But the main thing is just to start, just to start. But for the people that have their businesses started, I would read 12 Months to a Million for sure. That will give you some insight. I would read the 4 Hour Work Week. I would definitely go down the path of Ready, Fire, Aim. That's a great one. Built
Yeah.
to Sell. All of Gary Vaynerchuk's books. Like, God, there's so many. There's so many. I prescribe them a lot to my students.
What are some philosophical books you read?
Oh, that's really interesting. I wouldn't say that I've read a lot of philosophy, but I have read a lot of mindset books.
Go ahead. What's-
And just how to get your mind right. And Magic of Thinking Big and Three Simple Steps are the two best mindset books that I've ever read.
Magic of Thinking Big. I haven't read that one, but
Yeah,
I'll look that one up.
that was good. A lot of people a lot of people don't know that they're causing the problems to themselves by thinking about it and perpetuating a disease style of like mindset.
Yeah.
Magic of Thinking Big helps shed some light on that. It's cool.
Yes, I'll definitely hit that one up. And before we do the special thing, we call it spinning the wheel. That's our thing in our podcast. So I want to spin it for you because you can't spin it for some reason. But yeah, let's see what you get. And you got to answer it. What's your dream? What's your dream coming like to life?
Yeah, that's a great question. My dream is to be in a capsule with my family that I own on our way to a base on the moon that I've been working on. And for the first time, I have my arms around them. We're looking out down on the earth as one whole unit. And we get to experience that feeling of being able to see the entire earth with our own eyes in like one sight line, so we can experience that oneness, that feeling of just like true, like expanse. Like that is a dream of mine. Like all of them together with me. Oh, I want that.
That's a crazy dream. That is
I want
one
it so
crazy
bad, dude. I
dream.
think about it all the fucking time, dude.
Oh wow. I like that. I would,
Thanks.
I want to be in your dream. Put me in that pod. God. And the last three questions, right? I know you're a big Pokemon fan. I'm not gonna say your starters. I want to guess that you like Charizard or Charmander as your first starter. What's your
Dude,
favorite? Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead and say what
I
you
almost
gotta say.
always pick Venusaur.
Venus. Why?
Yeah, I love the leech seed poison powder combo. I love it. I think it's great. Damage over time, baby.
Oh no. Oh no. I'll pick God. Why not Squirtle out of everybody? Like
Yeah, Squirtle's the best for speed running. Bulbasaur has always been close to my heart, and Charmander's the easy pick.
I don't know, because the first like gym battle is like, what isn't it like what is it, rock? That you always
Yeah,
fight
it's
first?
rock, but you can get Vine Whip at like level 11 and you can smash through the rock gym and then you could smash through the water gym.
Yeah, that's
'cause
easy.
he's
That's
next.
easy mode. If you pick the grass type, that's easy mode. But if you pick fire type, that's hard mode.
Yeah, that's why I like the grass type.
Okay. Okay. But what's your favorite? The question is, what's your favorite legendary Pokemon?
Favorite legendary Pokemon?
Yeah.
Well, technically Arcanine is legendary if you read his Pokedex entries, and I think he's fucking dope.
Really?
Legendary, man, I really enjoyed the original Mewtwo. All
Okay.
the new ones don't really do it for me. The original Mewtwo was the biggest deal for me. And then my favorite non-legendary Pokemon is Crobat.
Crobat?
Yep.
Why Crobat?
Bro, damage over time, baby.
Oh,
Giga Drain, Double Team, Confuse Ray, Toxic.
man, you're a dividend type of guy. Okay, I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I respect that. All
He's
right.
also the fastest Pokemon in the game, up until that point and when he came out. And so,
Yeah.
having that speed advantage, to be able to get an early Confuse Ray off was huge.
You know what? I like that. I like that. I never heard anybody say Crobat as their favorite Pokemon. Now, second to last, is there anything that you would like to tell your mother and father?
I talk to my mom and dad a lot. We're pretty close. I tell them a majority of what I have to tell them all the time. But if I could say anything to them, it would be thank you. It would be thanks.
Wow.
Yeah. I got a chance because of them.
Yeah.
I'm still alive because of them. And so I would say thanks and I would just express a deep gratitude. And I'd be like, I got this. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to handle it all. I got it.
That's beautiful. And lastly, how can people reach out to you?
Oh, on Instagram. That would be the best way to do it. I have this thing on Instagram. I really like replying with videos and voice messages to everyone.
Yeah.
Because it's like that one chance I get to make a connection with you, and I really like doing that in the DM. So just DM me on Instagram.
Nice. And it's great having you here, Evan. And I wish you luck. I love your energy. Love it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me. It was great questions, you guys. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
No problem. See you later. All right.